To the Norwood School Committee business meeting portion of January 28th, 2026. The committee was in executive session. That was a call to order at 6:08 p.m. I will declare this meeting open, the open session, business session at 7:12 p.m. If everyone in attendance, if they are able, could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So moving right along here, in open session, correspondence. Dr. Luff, did we have any correspondence this evening?
We do not, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. Moving right along, for the meeting today, January 28th, 2026, I signed payroll warrants in the amount of $2,169,505.61, and I signed accounts payable warrants in the amounts of $543,936.31, $29,887.11, $11,875.77, $345,770.33, $74,278.27, $108,844.33, and $2,356.24, for a grand total of $3,286,453.97. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? No. Okay. Next, we are into public comment. Is there anyone here in person for public comment? Hearing and seeing none. Dr. Luff, did your office receive any signups?
We did not.
No. So just as a reminder to the community, because it was a hybrid meeting, if you would like to come for public comment, obviously you can show up to our meeting. At the start of the meeting, we just put out a form, and you are given a certain amount of time to speak. If it is hybrid and you do not want to be or cannot be in person, you can call the superintendent's office by noon the day of the meeting to pre-register. And if you do that, you would be sent a link that would then be sent to you during public comment at the meeting. So with no people for public comment, I will declare that closed at 7:15 p.m. Thank you. Moving right along here, Dr. Luff, to the superintendent report, late agenda.
Sure, I will be brief on this one today. Just a quick update on the redistricting. As I said, I would share with you after kindergarten registration opened. We opened up kindergarten registration on January 12th, and we've asked parents to complete registration by February 27th. We know it will not be complete by then, but we have asked parents to do that so we can have the most updated information for our staffing purposes for our new districted schools. At this time, we continue to have no need for additional budgeted staff based upon the current numbers that we have. We have started entering data into a spreadsheet on kindergarten registrations, and as you can see, currently, for example, at Balch, we have 5 students. At Callahan, 9. Cleveland, 5. Oldham, 12. Prescott has 27. Willett has 10. On the right-hand column here, these are the additional spaces we have based on what we were projecting for those classes. So we're still in line here. We are looking at possible higher class size at Balch, and so there is some conversation about a possible multi-grade that was brought up by a teacher. We're not sure if we'll be able to do that or even if we need to do that, but there is a thought process of possibly considering that. I just wanted you to be aware. I met with all the kindergarten paraprofessionals now a few weeks ago to talk about their transitioning to different schools because they have to move to different schools as well. I was going to call all of them. I'm actually headed over there tomorrow for my regular visit, so I'm going to spend an hour and a half after that meeting with each one individually to share and get their concerns about where they may go. The idea is that they will travel with their kindergarten teacher to the new school that they will go to. That is I think the most beneficial to the district and to the students, and kind of knowing that the routines. There are some outliers, but we won't be able to do that. But we'll have those conversations and should have those placements all completed within a few weeks. I am continuing to review family requests for shifts or requests to stay. I'm not honoring those unless there's an extenuating circumstance, and I have not yet responded to families on those. I'm waiting to see what the kindergarten numbers kind of come out to be. Parents should expect that they would go to school in their new redistricted zone. But again, per the policy, any parent is able to ask me if they can be in a different district of school, and under extenuating circumstances, I may be able to do that. But that is not because I'm in a different line, right? So I just want to make that clear. We have been sending out notifications to some of our greater impacted schools. So Prescott, Cleveland, and Willett have sent out notifications to invite their new families, which is fantastic to really start starting to build their communities in their schools. And the other schools have sent out their general communications. For example, Balch doesn't have a change in population, so they're just doing the regular communications they always have. We've been having our transition discussions every other week. So we've talked technology, we've talked moving. Last week we talked about new family activities that will be held for families coming in. We're talking about specialist schedules, those kind of things, to make sure that our schools are set there. That's with principals and different stakeholders. And then I will provide my next update after February 27th. If you have any questions for me, I'll take them.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? No? Okay. Seeing none. Dr. Leff, if you would like to continue on to the administrative searches.
Sure, just a quick update. First of all, congratulations to Dr. Michael Bollier, who has been appointed as the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum in Randolph Public Schools. Very excited for Michael as he takes this next step in his career. With that, we will be looking for a new elementary principal. I will kick off that search shortly. I just wanted the community to be aware that will be starting. We're also looking at search for Director of Student Services. I will have an update on that search for you guys at our next business meeting on February 11th, I think. February 11th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, okay, got it, good. All other administrative positions are in place and good, and that is all on that one.
Excellent. Comments or questions?
Yeah, can you just clarify that the current Student Services Director was appointed as an interim? She's not departing at this moment?
That is
in time?
correct. Catherine Davey, who is our interim Director of Student Services, is still with us and doing a fantastic job in the role right now. But it is an interim director position that we would have to look at a director position for.
I can see the panic.
Yeah, this is like, nope, she was appointed as an
Mass
interim,
hysteria just
hired as an
started outside the
interim.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's a
This is a normal part of the process.
Thank you.
yes. Thank you for that clarification. Anything else?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
On this one or something different?
No fun this one.
Okay. No, not on this one.
Okay, great. All right. Moving right along into business. I will start with the middle school building committee update, but then I'm going to have you do the
Sure.
other stuff. So we met on January 12th of this month and had a regular meeting. So there, sort of the big things we talked about was what is called, I'm calling the punch list. They call sort of the, it's the list of things that have to be done. And obviously, because the building is occupied, you have to balance having, contractors, people that are not school employees in the school. So that work is taking place after hours, on weekends, and then on vacations. So we were talking about sort of final closeout as well, where some of these things, and I'm going to make something up here. Numbering for parking spaces, obviously, after a snowstorm, that's not going to happen till April, like they, had planned out. So some of this goes into and even over the summer break, just sort of as things come up and things happen. So that was a large portion of our discussion. I will turn it over when I'm done to Dr. Luff with some of the more specifics around that. We did, in sort of our normal meeting agenda style, there are obviously payments that have to be made to our, what am I looking for here? Our invoices is the word. And just with some of the stuff that was going on and sort of the creation of this punch list, there were some payments withheld, but I wanted to turn it over to Dr. Luff to give a little bit more information on that.
Sure. So with any building project, there are always going to be some issues, right, with a building that large. We're coming to the close to the end of the project, so with that, there are some unresolved, we'll call them unresolved deficiencies or errors that we're trying to resolve. So you have received a letter, I believe, from the town manager, a letter that went to our project manager and our contractors and architects on things that we have asked for them to fix prior to closure of this project. We wanted to make sure that they had a list of those things identified by us and requested resolutions prior to making a payment towards the end of the project here. So that is working out. We will be meeting shortly to discuss some of those resolutions and go from there. But there are things like some hot and cold plumbing issues. There are some things with the sanitary drain cleanouts where they were housed and blocked, kind of a thing. Some sound panels, window shade and projection issues. We know about the gymnasium floor. That was a question mark, right, trying to fix that and make sure that that's up to speed, and it's pretty much a new gym floor by the time it's done. Some curbing damage from outside, some parking lot striping issues. There are some floor pitch deficiencies around some of the floor drains in there. We're trying to get those fixed. Some classroom technology issues that we're trying to resolve. As well as some drainage issues. So we are continuing to monitor these pieces and working with our OPM to ensure that they are fixed or there's some kind of resolution to those before we conclude the project. But I just wanted to share that update with you as you receive this. And obviously it was public the other day when we voted to not approve some of the invoices.
And just two things to that. Obviously, this is pretty par for the course, right? Like you build a large building like this. There are a lot of moving pieces, a lot of groups, a lot of people. Nothing is perfect. So this is sort of, again, I will say par for the course. Not only where you have this punch list and you begin to say, oh, okay, before we close this out completely, you need to do X, Y, Z, as well as, it is not uncommon using that withholding a payment, sort of as a tool. So it's just sort of the dance of the groups that are involved. So those were our big things. The last thing with that is, part of the discussion was, do we need to meet as regularly as we begin to close the project out, or not begin, as we are closing the project out and get closer to that. We had talked about maybe doing every other month, just with this punch list, and sort of as that has grown, we have decided that we will continue to meet monthly. So our next meeting will actually be February 9th, which is a Monday, at 4:30. Questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
I will just say to the public watching that anyone who's been around to see some of our buildings built in Norwood, some of the more newer ones, I've been here as well, and I've been much more impressed with the committee for this building and the attention to these issues and not letting them just kind of slide, and making sure that we are not value engineering everything out of the building, and then immediately putting things back in as soon as they have, the money has been freed up to do so. So I just want to, I don't want to see panic again in the streets. We don't want to cause another mass hysteria. That, another one of these buildings, we're letting all these things go. We had to, we had to do it for the bottom bidder, and it's not. These are very typical things, and the committee is very diligent about making sure that these things are going to get taken care of. And anecdotally, I work in a brand-new building in Boston, and we are going through the exact same thing. Very reputable company put it up, and it's, you're just constantly finding little things that just, you didn't, you missed it in an inspection. So it's gonna eventually even out, but I'm certainly happy being in a brand-new building, so I'm sure these middle schoolers are very happy being in their brand-new building, too.
Other questions, comments, or concerns?
And then what is the final step taken to ensure that you've reviewed and there are no further problems? Like, is there a final audit of the building? My worry is that, and I get it, problems come up, but then, oh no, now something really significant happened thereafter. Is that like built into the contract somehow?
That's the like audit that they.
Yes, I mean, yeah, there are final audits and regular audits as the time goes on.
Okay.
Yep.
And some of, one of those audits does take place June or July, so it's a year after occupancy, so you get sort of that light tread on the building and can, maybe discover some of those issues, if any, so.
I think that's the question, right? Like, what's the warranty?
Yeah, exactly.
How long does the warranty last? Are we getting 3 year, 36,000 on this, or,
No.
I mean,
Very fair. Did I miss anything?
Not on this one.
Excellent.
I missed something on the last one that I have to.
Okay, what's the last one?
The admin searches.
Okay, go ahead.
So as part of our facilities MOA, whenever there's a new director of facilities being recommended, the town and schools, along with representatives from each, meet to look at the candidates and have conversations and make a recommendation. We completed that, and we are happy to have offered Chris Folan the director of facilities job, which he has graciously accepted. So congratulations to Chris Folan, who will be our next director of facilities.
Excellent.
congrats to Chris. Carry on that good work.
Yes. Big shoes to fill.
Mhm.
Okay, any questions from any searches or middle school building stuff or anything like that? No. If you could please pop into the long-term agenda, so as we approach our second meeting in January, we can look ahead. Obviously, February is one of our couple one-month meetings, so I would actually start looking all the way into March. Obviously, March 25th is our budget vote and negotiations one, so that's super short, so we keep that one alone. But just stuff that's upcoming. You guys and I will update the committee offline, the superintendent assessment and 360 assessment discussion with the formative assessment, so that's halfway through the goal cycle. You guys will be getting information tomorrow, questions out with the ability to answer, so that will tie in there a little bit. We will do another budget subcommittee update. With our continued budget talk, we will look at shared budgets as well as some of our fee-based things. We will have our lovely monthly budget transfers. We will do an MSBC update, as it is our only meeting in February, which I would imagine would be short. We will take a 5-minute look at the long-term agenda as well in February. And then Ms. Stewart did update our Student Advisory Council. Will be with us February 11th as well. Things I've missed, comments, questions?
Have we, did I miss, wait a minute, hold on a minute. Nope, I think it's gonna be too early, never mind.
Okay.
I was looking ahead to, I think we might already have it in there for March. Nope, we have it, never mind. I
Okay.
lied. I was gonna say, I don't see the winter fine arts and
Ah,
athletics, and I
yes.
see them. They're there.
Perfect. And then just the two in March, obviously our first one in March, we will do a policy and budget subcommittee updates. We will begin, or if there are any warrant articles for Maytown meeting, we will discuss that then. So think about your warrant ideas are coming out of our two subcommittees if there are any. We will have our quarterly food service update, so that will be another person visiting, which is great. We will continue our budget discussion. I know what SOA stands for.
Student opportunity.
Student opportunity.
Yes. the Student Opportunities Act. We will have an update on that as well. And then, per request, this was also taking a look at our district accommodation plan. Are we still on point for?
Yes.
Okay. The DCAP, if you will, another lovely, what are those called? Acronym? Look at Hiltz. He's on fire today. Good stuff. Questions or comments? Anything down? Okay, and then I'll just go over March 18th as well. Yes, Judith, go ahead.
I remember bringing up the extra money from the middle school building project and playgrounds, and I thought it got put on the long-term agenda, but maybe I'm wrong?
No, I guess not, but let's update. We could probably do that. Do we think we could do that the 11th? This didn't.
Probably.
Okay, we can add that to February if you would like our next one.
Yep. I will be remote on the 11th as a
Oh,
reminder.
right. So I'm going to make that note. Superintendent is remote. So someone's going to have to spend some time with me figuring out how all this stuff works.
Oh, Dr. Munoz here.
Oh, yeah.
I
I
already-
just got it.
I already got it.
Yay. Great, added those. Thank you for that reminder. March 18th, we will do our budget subcommittee update. The budget hearing is the 18th?
It is.
Is, yes. We'll also look at the long-term agenda, some monthly budget transfers, our MSBC update.
We may not have the plan recommendations at that point, so that may come off.
I'm just gonna add a nice maybe in parentheses next to that. Winter Fine Arts and Winter Athletics recognition, as well. And then, what was the curriculum adoption?
So we have an ELA curriculum that we're looking at for elementary, and we have a math curriculum that we're looking at for 5 through 12. I don't know if we'll be ready on that day or not.
I'm gonna anticipate now that we're about to halfway through the process, we're getting ready for the piloting phase, that we will not probably be ready to recommend a curriculum for the school committee to vote on.
Okay, what was the second one, though, math?
Math for upper and middle school and high school.
I'm
and
gonna
then
say 5 to 12.
Yeah, 5, 12,
Um,
and K-4. Yeah.
Is there a, can I pick a random one in April or May?
Sure, yeah, pick one.
For a
All right.
placeholder.
The committee's already asked me to move past March, so, and I told them that we would be able to do that.
Perfect. Well, you know what then? That's the case. We're gonna save it for May 20th, right in the heat of graduation stuff and all that good stuff.
That's okay. We have, within the budget, we have the funds to adopt whatever curriculum.
Yeah,
we decide.
yeah, and we're thinking about summer PD already once we adopt our curriculum, so yeah.
Great. And then the 25th is the budget vote and negotiations with the superintendent. Questions on March? As always, because it is an agenda item, feel free to email if you have questions. That'll remain updated, and we can go from there. Thank you for your work and attention to that. Moving out of business into budget, I will turn it over to you.
Oh, wait, sorry, hold on.
Go ahead.
Which one of those days is student government?
You know what?
It's actually not on a school committee day
It's
this year.
not?
It is
Oh my
not.
gosh, that has not
It is
happened in
not.
6 years.
And I don't know if I emailed you guys the date or not yet, but I do
No,
have
I saw
that.
it, and I just,
Great, great memory.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to bring them in here to do something fun, so
yep.
Okay,
we'll see. I have not planned that yet.
excellent.
Should we add that in the long term, though, as like a other date? We used to add some of those other dates, like, because
will.
you might be looking for committee members to,
I
Yes.
definitely will. So once anybody know what that date is, by any chance?
I'm gonna,
The Student Government Day?
yeah, I mean,
Somebody's
Like,
going to be
we
texting me in
just
2 seconds. I
got-
know it.
Yep.
March
Texting-
11th?
texting me.
that sounds right.
Town Government Day, here it is.
March 11th.
March 11th.
Yep, Wednesday, March 11th.
Okay, okay, but it's a Wednesday, but it falls on an off week for us. Okay, got it.
Okay. Great.
Back.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like,
And
wait.
now, can I turn it over to you for a budget subcommittee update?
Yes, you can.
Excellent.
Okay, so, we met, last Wednesday, for the budget sub. And we went over just pretty much what we've been doing, the last several meetings, getting the deep dives into the cost center, the cost center presentations from each of the departments that, you'll be seeing some of that tonight. We discussed, specifically, we discussed class sizes at all the different schools, so just one of the things that we want to do every single year is look at the class sizes, make sure that we're not too big, we're not too small, but basically that we're looking at it holistically and actually evaluating whether, a teacher could be, not a teacher, please, oof, don't say that, that a class could be shifted, or, so we get these questions every year that, I know, at my kid's classroom in the middle school, there's only 10 kids in the class. And so, we look at these, the class size numbers on an average, just to make sure that we are not budgeting for a class that is being very under-enrolled or things like that. And it did look very good this year. You might see something like that because schedules are really hard to make and not every kid is going to be in the exact same line. So some classes are going to be bigger than others, especially if there's a school that they're moving around in. We clearly look at the class sizes at the elementary school because we want to make sure if we have to add a classroom, if we have to add a teacher, if we have to shift a teacher because maybe the second grade that's coming through is massive, so there's things like that. And just want to make sure we have eyes on it every single year. And it's not, things aren't slipping through the cracks. We did look at the class, some of the notes I had from the class sizes, like at the Coakley, obviously it's the first year at the Coakley, so there are definitely some improvements to be made next year when it comes to scheduling and electives and things like that. So, that is on the forefront. Obviously there's way more kids in the school than have been there in the past. We discussed at length the next round of the budget. We discussed going to our next BBC meeting and what we're going to discuss at that. That is going to be February 11th. Yes, February 11th. During the day before the meeting. We discussed, what else did we discuss? We discussed IT, we discussed curriculum, and those items from the cost center perspective and what we're going to need to move forward with that. I don't want to take away lots of thunder when those things come up, but just to know that we had deep dives into all of these things before they've come before you. We obviously discussed the quarterly budget transfers and the monthly budget transfers that you will see in the consent agenda. If there's anything in there that you want to pull out, one of them, Mr. Mannion did send out an email about that's quite big. It's our kind of yearly shift everything around and make it go into the right cost center transfer. So if there are any questions on that, but just know that the budget sub did, do a very thorough review of that, and it all looks good to us. Yeah, I think that is about it, unless I missed anything important.
I think you did the quarter 2 financial report, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I said budget, but I meant that is what I was referring to, the quarter 2 financial report. We did do a deep dive into that as well. Yeah.
Questions or comments from the committee? Hearing and seeing none, I am going to take, thank you, Emery. I am going to take one thing out of order. I'm going to move up the review of class size analysis.
And David, just so you guys know, we do have another budget sub next week.
Perfect. What time?
12:30
On?
on Wednesday the 4th.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. So, Mr. Rain, would you like to come up? Are you helping out with this?
Yep, so Mr. Rain's going to report out on the, let's see, where's the right one? High school current class size analysis. I want to share that. It's almost impossible to get the future class size analysis. And she'll give a general quick overview of what the high school looks like now.
Do you want me to just give you a quick overview, or you guys just want to ask questions based on what I presented at the budget subcommittee?
Can you do your best 3 to 5 minute summary of that, and then we can do some questions?
Sure. I think that, our class sizes are holding steady. We have some smaller numbers in our college classes, and in particular in college classes where the needs are higher. We tried to make our honors and AP classes bigger where possible. That just seems to make sense. First year academy was for freshmen was the first, for ninth graders was the first time that we were taking like a middle school model and trying to shove it into a master schedule with that doesn't quite fit that. So we have some work to do in this year. We learned a lot. We have some work to do in balancing out those numbers for next year, but I think by and large, we were pretty successful with that. We are watching some places where enrollment has dipped a little bit in some electives, but what we do know is where our enrollment overall is a bit, we have some smaller grades right now than is typical for us. So we are watching that we have larger classes coming up from the middle school, and we expect that anywhere that is dipped will go up. We don't have any students, just to give you an update, that enrolled in Latin 3 or 4. We have 14 students who are enrolled in Latin 2, so we're getting ready to do course selection, and we'll figure out who wants to continue on to the next level with Latin, but we think that some of the kids it'll be a much smaller number. We looked at some consolidations. If you look at like AP Statistics has 13 students this year, but statistics, honors and college statistics has 20. If you, regardless of how you split that up, it's still 2 classes because it's 33 kids total. So we really do try to look at that and figure out how to make concessions. A lot of our classes for electives are honors and college combined, so psychology, sociology, criminal justice, even some French classes, and Spanish in the upper levels. And what we find is that students who register for college will go, oh, I can do this honors level work, and they'll challenge themselves. So combining where we can and making opportunities for kids that way helps an awful lot.
Excellent.
How's that? 3 to 5?
That was perfect. Spot on. Thank you.
And
Questions,
the
comments,
pathways are
concerns
moving
from
well.
the
Yeah, the pathways are included in here, in the business, that's solid 22 is the average. Some of our, each grade level is capped at 25 because we only have that one business teacher. And the pathways for healthcare they utilize the BYU curriculum right now, so they're not included in here, but also capped at 25 for each grade level because we don't have a teacher. So,
questions, comments? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. And Dr. Fexley is online here, and she can share an update on the Coakley Middle School.
I will also keep it probably even quicker than Cindy. So, you can kind of see there, our core subject classes kind of sit right around that 23, 24. Grade 5 is our biggest class. We have it somewhere close to 290 kiddos. And then our languages classes kind of vary from there. Our fifth graders currently all travel together, so all of their class sizes are kind of the same, no matter how we look at it. Sixth grade's a little bit smaller class overall, so just the classes go down a little bit, but again, stay pretty much the same. Our wellness classes are always a little bit bigger. We have a little bit more students in there. World language kind of varies between Spanish and French. I do a little bit more for Spanish than French. And 7th and 8th grade pretty much look the same way. Anne-Marie kind of mentioned that we're going to be making some schedule changes for next year, which will help us with any of our kind of little bit larger class sizes. In particular, number one, we're moving from trimesters back to semesters, because trimesters just could not make all the puzzle pieces fit together and still give kids the quality of instruction and the amount of different classes that we wanted to, in particular in 8th grade. And then also for 8th grade, we'll be kind of splitting up when specials are for 8th grade a little bit, which we're very much hoping will help with our world language. World language in grade 8 is every single day. And trying to put that into 2 blocks has been a challenge. So right now they're a little bit unbalanced. So we're hoping next year that we'll be able to balance them out. Whereas I have one group of world language classes that are 17 and 18 students and another class that's 24, 25. So we're going to be making some changes to try and balance those things out. We are planning to bring STEM down to grade 5. So we'll have 5th grade students, 5th, 6th, and 8th grade students with STEM, and that allows for more computers in 7th grade. So 7th grade will be computers, and then 8th grade will be STEM and computers. And then, you know, kind of working on adding more electives, more of the essential arts classes into 8th grade, in particular for our music students, because our music students this year had to kind of make some decisions or didn't get a lot of choices, and we want to add some more. So that's kind of what we're looking at for class size and more.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the committee?
I think I just would add, like, one of the questions I had during the budget sub, just in the deep dive, was about just the spaces, you know, right? Are we actually, like, how close are we to space size with these classes? And we're pretty much right at them. The rooms as they were built in the new building, really, you know, from what number I was given, like max 26 seats in a room. So we're kind of there. So it's not like we can shove another, 10 kids in any of these classes to, even if there was a constraint where we had to consolidate X, Y, or Z, like we physically cannot do it. So I kind of like that, having a physical constraint that means we can't consolidate classes down to something massive.
We've been using all the spaces and lots of children in the spaces. The CSF dismissal, 1,095 come out.
Anyone else? No. Dr. Luff, any final words?
Not on the middle school.
Excellent. Right. Dr. Frazek, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Margo. And I will be ultra quick with the general ed projections. You have seen these already. This is a spreadsheet that I've been sharing as we went. All the class sizes are projected. You can see that they're anywhere from the kindergarten classrooms obviously aren't pulled up here yet, but anywhere from 17 to 23 or so at different places. So we'll continue to track this, but right now we are within the budgeted projections.
Excellent. And again, that is a spreadsheet. Ooh, this is a good spreadsheet. That we have seen before. Sometimes I forget because we see so many spreadsheets. But again, questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
I was formulating a question earlier when we were talking about the, in middle school, the kindergarten enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
I see, obviously, the certain schools are enrolling quicker than others, and
Yep.
I wonder if that has anything to do with any outreach or any, I don't know, is there a way to get more outreach to certain districts or areas to get the enrollment done?
We
Yeah.
are working on that, and we
Okay.
will be working on that. So we'll try to head over to Windsor and try to push the parents over there, obviously, because that's the one that we're wondering if there was if they're registering or not. Those are also, there's fewer on the census in Cleveland, right? So we feel like there's going to be more at Cleveland. We know that we have a teacher in advance ready for that should we need it. Prescott had a high number on the census, and they have the highest number of enrolled, registered students so far, I should say. So, but we will be, once we get closer to the 27th, I'm going to be pushing out a lot of communication to try to get parents to register early.
I'm trying to think too.
More
if-
communication, I should say.
I'm just thinking out loud too, that if, I do think that that's about the same time that private schools would be announcing I know there's some that never tell anyone no, but that would be would be announcing their enrollment or their acceptance,
Yes.
thank you. So I think maybe there will be an influx at that time of, probably registrations. It's kind of
That's a great
February, March area, so if someone was trying to,
They might not register here yet because they're waiting for the acceptance possibly. and-
just something to keep in the back of minds that might be the case. And the other thing I was going to say is, because it kind of surprised me a little bit too with the Balch. Like the Balch has such, kind of tight-knit community in South Norwood, so I'm a little surprised that there's not a lot more word of mouth saying, come on, roll, so.
Yeah, I don't know that we've really shared how many registrations come in January normally, so I think it probably has had this pattern. We just haven't seen
Yeah.
it communicated it that much yet. Yeah.
Sounds good, just kind of spitballing.
But it does show me that we got to keep on pushing it up.
Mhm.
Both very good questions. Anyone else? No. Okay. Do we want to move into the grant analysis? Because that was also listed there?
Sure.
Great.
I have it open, I think.
Did you not click on it? Were you not ready?
I'm always ready. That's okay. Okay. Oh, sorry, share this.
That's all right.
I guess I'm not
So
ready.
this is, I was waiting for it, but that's fine.
You're good.
This is a memo on specifically grant funding for next fiscal year, sort of in light with our budget discussions. And we're looking at federal and state grant funding for FY '27. It's got a memo and a table. So right off the bat, it's important to note that approximately 33.5 FTEs are paid from grant fundings. We expect that same number to be in FY '27 as in FY '26. That's, we also have FTEs that are paid by revolving funds. This report isn't on the revolving funds, but we do have 7.8 FTEs primarily paid from the preschool revolving fund that are employees at LMPA. And the town also approved funding for 3 FTEs through a warrant article in spring of '25. That was for this fiscal year, and it was based on expected increases in our federal Medicaid funding. So when you look at the budget for FY '27, we also assume a similar number of FTEs on the grants, on the revolvings, as well as these Medicaid funds continuing to support the 3 positions that we put in the budget. The federal grants, the entitlement grants that are on a 27-month period. So we have almost a little over 2 years to spend down any given federal grant. So it's granted in 1 year. We usually write the grants in the fall, and then we have 1 year and then another year and a few months to actually spend down that. The state grants are much stricter. Usually once we get those have a strict June 30th end date. They're typically 1 year, and that's it. We've been looking and listening to information about federal grant funding for next fiscal year. So right now, they're in discussions about the federal 2026 budget, which will turn into our federal '27 grant funds. There have been some discussions and some word from the state that at times there were some budgets at the federal level that had reductions to some of the title grants. We're talking Title I, II, III, and IV. There have been no discussions about reductions to any of the special education IDEA funds. And some of those title grants do support FTEs like Title I. Title III does have 1.1. Title I has the Title I teachers of 6. Title grants also support professional development, mentoring, supplies, and administrative costs. More recently, and this is very fluid, I'm sure everybody looks in the paper, but it's come to light that they are close to approving a budget that actually increases some of these funds slightly. That doesn't necessarily mean an increase for Norwood, but there was like a 0.1% increase in Title I, small increases overall, which is good news for us. It basically means that we would be pretty secure with our next grants coming next year. Now, we were talking internally about what would happen if there are reductions in some of these grants. Because of this 27-month period, if any of these title grants were reduced, we would have enough in this year's grant to likely get us through next year and smooth that out. So even if there were reductions, most likely the impact would not be for FY '27, but for FY '28. But according to the most recent information we hear from MASS, MASC, from MASBO, my group, it's slight increases if anything, so we're not really looking at reductions, hopefully. The chart you can see below, so it's similar to something we showed this year for FY26 funds. Title I, that supports a lot of the teachers. It's low-income schools, other types of costs, up to $600,000. Title IIA for teacher mentoring and professional development, private school and a bookkeeper, $94,000. Title III does have 1.1 paraprofessional. This is for English language learners primarily at $85,000. Title IV is professional development and technology stipends and family engagement. It's a smaller grant at $34,000. And then you see the large IDEA grant. That does support quite a bit of staff, 2 facilitators, 0.5 LMPA team chair, and at this point, 21.7 paras and a 0.5 admin assistant. Again, we switched this grant around a little bit. We moved OTPT staff off and we moved more paras on, and that's so that the OTPT staff can claim for Medicaid, because you can't have staff paid by federal grants who are claiming for federal funds. You can't double dip. IDEA also has an early childhood allocation with a 0.9 para at the LMPA. And then there are a couple state grants that we pay attention to. There's the Partnership for Reading Success, really large competitive grant that's 5 years, a great grant that we secured here. So it was a very small in the first year. We're in year 2 at $725,000, and then it kind of ramps down each year. So FY27 would be at $544,000, which is at 75% of year 2, and then it goes down to 50% and 25%. And lastly, there's a grant that comes out of the CSHS that's for nursing. It's about 86%, $86,000 each year. I think we're in year 7 of a 10-year grant for that. It pays for an 0.8 adjustment counselor at the middle school, as well as a whole range of things for nursing, supplies, equipment, professional fees, and substitutes.
The great news is that we'll be able to support funding of these grants through next year, no matter what, FY27. The better news is that the Senate passes this bill, which we're not sure about right now, given some of the things happening. It would be a slight increase as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee?
No, just.
Yeah. Hope it does. Excellent. Excellent. Love it. Okay. Hearing nothing else. Thank you. We can move on from that. I am going to continue out of order in budget. I would love. What am I doing here? Yes, Mr. Kidd, come on up. We're going to do the FY27 Technology Cost Center review. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me here. Good to see everybody. Let's just get right to it. First things first, I do want to recognize our technology team who worked very hard throughout the district. We have 3 technicians, Anna Fogg, John Willett, and Joe Sleeman. They are located, Joe and John are located at their schools. They spend most of the day at the schools unless we have other projects going on. Anna goes to all of the different elementary schools, and we feel like that model is very important to build relationships with not just staff, but students as well. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Laura Mullen works the entire district. She's a Unit A teacher, our instructional support specialist, working with teachers and students, but also professional development with teachers as well, and special projects. Steph Bodwin is our data specialist and application support specialist. Anything having to do with the student information system, student data, that goes through Steph. Moses Forshu is our network and systems manager, server storage infrastructure, wireless internet. Anything having to do with our network and infrastructure goes through Moses, and they are the best team to work with by far. We have, I do have a couple of asterisks there. Now, not officially part of our team, but work very closely with Jack Tolman and our entire facilities department. We could not do our job without the facilities department. They are the second best team in the district. Thank you. Next one. So just to kind of go over our budget this year, this is the general budget that we have. This is not all of the money that we spend on technology in the district. There's different buckets that I'll talk a little bit about, but this is basically what I present or I submit to the business office each year of what we need. This is a level service budget, even though we're down $84,000. It's the same service. The decrease this year is because we don't have staff devices, laptops in particular, to refresh this year. We've got a year off of that. That does mean the following year we go back to replacing about $75,000 worth of laptops in the district. It is our 4-year refresh cycle.
If I could just pause for a minute and recognize Joe as he looks at these screens to do this. I just want to thank Joe for helping us out with this technology.
Again, I go back to the facilities department on that one. I appreciate it, though. So next slide, I just wanted to break down just, the different areas that we spend this particular bit of money on. It is, as you can see, heavy on the educational side, meaning software, things that directly impact the education of our students and the tools that our teachers use for instructional purposes. Well, the 16% is on the infrastructure side. It's a little bit of a misnomer because we spend, the overall percentage is higher. We just use different buckets of money for infrastructure. But in this particular 700,000 plus budget, that's what that looks like. You can see we do spend our higher percentage on software and systems. A lot of this is due to the fact that we've moved over the last 10 years to more of a hybrid, cloud-based, as many organizations and school districts have, for our software and our systems rather than in-house software and systems. So that tends to then show in the budget as more of a higher percentage cost. But just on the next slide, showing you what other budget sources that are used. The curriculum budget supports just, what I said, different curriculum technology, such as Renaissance and STAR assessments, textbooks, electronic curriculums, things of that nature. School and departments have very specific or purchase very specific technology for their school department. So it tends to be if it's like, for example, the Fine Arts Department pays for their Adobe Creative Cloud subscription each year for their graphic arts program and their television program. So if it's something very specific to a school or to a department, they pay for it out of their budget. We go to capital almost every single year for our infrastructure and computer lab refreshes. So we use budget there. Going hand in hand with that capital, we use E-rate funding. We get 60% reimbursements for our network infrastructures. That usually happens along with the capital ask is tied into E-rate each year. Even though the new Coakley has been built, I did want to add that in there because, again, we've been able to refresh technology over this past year due to the new Coakley building project. So that kind of counts as a budget bucket for us. And then each year we usually go out, we try to get grants in special programs. This year we did get a state earmark as part of our ability to, for the purposes of upgrading the NHS wireless, refreshing the wireless. Because of that, we do not have to go to capital this year. That takes care of that. So thank you to Representative John Rogers and Senator Rush for that. Bless you.
Thank you.
But just taking a look at our capital plan, I would like to give you our 5-year capital plan outlook. This is our 5-year plan. Again, FY27, there is nothing there because we got the state earmark, so we're able to take care of that. And then from FY28 to FY31, you can see the different projects that we have on tap, and that's also as part of the capital plan with the town as well. So I did want to talk a little bit about what we support with this money, what we support with this budget. A lot of times when we talk about school technology and we talk about the school IT office, everybody starts talking about Chromebooks, right? And It's all about Chromebooks. But I just want to reiterate that Chromebooks are part of that, but a lot of our funding goes to so many different things. We manage and support 60 different systems with student and staff information across the district. We have over 100 different data privacy agreements with vendors. We take our data privacy, staff and student data very seriously. We configure and support over 5,000 pieces of instructional equipment, including, TVs and document cameras and printers and everything that's used in the classrooms, along with laptops and tablets and iPads and all kinds of technology. I mentioned it before, we collaborate very closely with facilities. We support HVAC systems across the district, security cameras, audiovisual equipment, basically anything with a button. Either us or facilities or both of us are supporting it in some way, shape, or form. We service around 2,400 support tickets every year. That's the support tickets that actually get entered into the system by teachers. It's really, times 3, based on phone calls and emails and requests and things of that nature. I every year say, hey, please put in a ticket so we can show the data.
Trust me, none of them are my tickets.
Yeah.
I was only told you one here. I've been told 6.
I say, I'm glad it's not just me and my job. And
Yeah.
I just go to the desk and they're like, yes, but please don't forget to put in a ticket
Yes.
so we can track that.
So then, moving on, we just to reiterate, we provide instructional support, we provide professional development support, including training opportunities for teachers. We support all assessments. All assessments are done online now, and we're there between rostering and tech support and training and setup. We're involved. We do hardware break fix, so we're fixing laptops and Chromebooks and other equipment. We provide obviously network support. We provide security well-being support, beyond security technology to student filtering to student wellness alerts that we get at all times of day or night, that we work with administrators on addressing. We have a lot of data support needs. There's always people looking for pieces of data, especially when we talk about redistricting moving forward, and all of those systems that I talked about. But the best thing about this and the best thing about this job is that the technology department gets to be involved in just about everything in some way, shape, or form. Right? We work with the entire community, including our admins, our teachers, our staff, our students, and our families. So, speaking of students, one of the things I did want to talk a little bit about very quickly is that I talked about our technicians earlier. We have one Unit A teacher on our staff. That's Laura Mullen, who does the majority of our work with teachers and students. But our technicians will also do work with students as well. We've had the great opportunity of being able to work with students in many different ways. You can see one of the things I do want to talk about is we have a brand new state-of-the-art studio at the new middle school that does not have a broadcast teacher or a broadcast program like the high school does, but our technician Joe Sleeman, along with Jack Tolman, have worked this year to just decided to start up a morning announcement program where they bring the kids in and they do the morning announcements the day before. They record them and then they set them up on the teachers' screens in the morning so that they automatically pop on at a certain time. Josh, you know what time it is?
8:45.
8:45, yep, 8:45 in the morning. They automatically come on. The teacher doesn't have to do anything at all, and it's the start of the day. But the greatest part is this is literally a state-of-the-art broadcast studio, and these kids are gonna be able to be that much farther ahead. It's gonna boost our television program at the high school as well.
I just gotta say, I watched one of those being done, and I couldn't believe how fluent the kids were in the equipment, like doing the entire broadcast. I was just really impressive with the work, so it's a really, really cool opportunity.
So if we go to the next slide, at the high school, John Willett, our technician, works with Dr. Crowley in the SDSS program. It's our student technicians program. We spend part of the time with Dr. Crowley, part of the time helping us with Chromebook repairs. But then beyond that, we're trying to branch that out a little bit. John's going to be taking a group to Bridgewater State this spring to their cybersecurity range, their cyber range, for a day of cybersecurity learning and capture the flag type of games. Sometimes some of these students become our interns in the summers. We have a paid summer intern program, which is crucial to us getting ready for the start of the school year each year. But it's a great program, and it's a paid internship for the kids. I talked about the Coakley morning announcements. Beyond that, Laura Mullen does what's called the Oldham Scoop program that started a few years ago, and she worked with 5th graders, now this year 4th graders, on doing a weekly news program at the Oldham. It was the Oldham reached out to her asking to do something, and they created the Scoop, which is watched by the classes across the Oldham every single week. She also does a number of students as creators programs and with teachers and projects, and we try to focus on not one and done projects, but projects that teachers can then carry on year after year after year after that. In addition to all of that and the support, we do have a number of projects always happening at the same time. These could be projects that we decide that need to be done, like upgrades and refreshes and things of that nature. They're projects that the superintendent or the admin team need to have done, or there might be projects that a school might have. For example, we didn't go to approach schools about implementing securely e-hall passes this year. They said, this is something that we need to do. Can we do this? And we then go ahead and we help them do that, reviewing. It could be a month-long project, could be a week-long project, could be a years-long project, depending on what the project is. So just some recent and current projects. Obviously New Coakley, there's a ton of different things there. Even though the school is built and the children are attending, there's still data center stuff that we're just finishing up, new infrastructure that we're just finishing up there. We have systems projects. For example, a lot of different Aspen projects this year. We implemented a financial assistance workflow where families that need assistance with transportation costs or food, school nutrition costs or any sort of fees, now they go into Aspen and they fill that out. It then goes through the business office for approval, and then they're able to share that with different departments. Before, a parent might fill out 4 different applications for financial assistance, and we were able to then streamline that for one. Some few other Aspen projects, Mustang Metrics, our data warehouse. We implemented and deployed teacher accounts this year, back in October, so that teachers could look at their classes, look at their students, and see a lot of data. We have, I don't know how many dashboards we've added this year. So many. I think between Steph and Dr. Munoz, one day we have a weekly meeting with Analytic View, who's our partner in Mustang Metrics, and I don't know, it was about a month ago or so, they said, when is this all going to stop?
There's always a new way to look at
Dr.
the
Munoz
data.
said, never!
We got the contract.
I love data visualization.
And we just gave them, Joan, we just gave them the feedback of like, some of these are percentages, some of these are numbers. Can we have it both together
Right.
or make it all uniform? So they're working on that too.
So that's a years-long ongoing sort of project. We have a big one that we started and that's coming up is our configuration for Tyler Substitute Management, absence management, which is going to streamline a little bit of the substitute management that we have in place, but connect it to our payroll system, which has not been connected before. This was part of a town warrant article last year. This is, again, a multi-year project, or a little bit over a year project. We should be live with that next fall. we have a number of hardware projects as usual, a number of security projects that are ongoing that we've been working on this year and partially we've completed. You can go ahead. And some upcoming projects, obviously the redistricting and the substitute management system. There's a big change in ADA compliance for not only our websites, but for basically any sort of electronic materials that are used, that are presented to students. It's a pretty big, I don't want to say change, but there's a lot to do regarding documents that are presented in electronic curriculum that's presented to students. We are supposed to implement and make sure that we're implementing the regulations by the spring of 2027. Any municipality that's over 50,000 actually has to do this spring, but we get a year. So that's going to be a big. We're going to try to couple that with a website improvement. That's sort of where we're looking to do that. We've got some wireless access point refresh. We're doing a SIS system review, student information system. We actually just asked for a committee of group of people that would like to review we're calling it our SIS due diligence committee, where we're going to review Aspen and make a decision as to whether or not we want to move forward with the possibility of changing student information systems based on what's there. I'm sorry? Oh.
Don't go to Power School.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
We also, a lot of updated long-term scenarios, including hardware and budget. We know the forecast for budget over the next couple of years. We're mindful of that, and we want to make sure that we're out ahead of what those scenarios could be and what are the consequences of going with those scenarios, what are the unintended consequences of going with those scenarios, and how we can move forward. So, and then obviously we're working with the superintendent on the new strategic plan. We don't have a strategic technology plan right now. We want it to align with what the new strategic plan for the district will be. So just some challenges that we face with school IT, and this is not just Norwood, this is, everywhere. Continued growing security threats. I like to say that 15 years ago when I started here, I thought about security, you thought about security, but it wasn't, everything. And today it's 95% of what we think about every single day, or what I think about every single day. So it's getting worse as far as the threats are concerned. Other challenges are competing priorities and time. So there's lots of projects, there's lots of things. A lot of those projects that are listed in this presentation are things that have been on the list for some years now, but they just get pushed down because of other priorities. We are facing a supply chain disruption. I'm still waiting to get some quotes on some student Chromebooks for next year. There are rising costs for RAM and CPUs due to artificial intelligence and the servers and chips that are being used for those. Like I said, the forecasted budget, that's a challenge. Another challenge is, technology appropriate use, distractibility. That's something that we think about all the time as well, and how do we use technology in a way that's focused and intentional, and that's always a challenge, right? Especially when you have kids that have computers in front of them all day, right? And the use of artificial intelligence can be a challenge in a way that we have to make sure that teachers that are using or staff members that are using artificial intelligence, using those tools, that they're using them appropriately, that they're not sharing any student data, personal identifiable data. And also, the other challenge is, and we're already seeing it, the use of artificial intelligence as a means to phish our staff members and trick them into giving up their credentials and getting access to our network. So, but on the other side, there is opportunity in the use of artificial intelligence, which is sort of the ironic thing about it. And there's a number of people that that use it and use it well, myself included. Without the use of, artificial intelligence to help me code, we wouldn't have the site that we use for parents to search what school they'd be at next year, right? So there's a lot of great uses of artificial intelligence. We just, we got to find that happy medium. Other opportunities are continued improvement in efficiencies and instruction. We're always looking to continually improve our systems. Use the use of data to inform our decisions. We're doing more of that the last couple of years than we've ever done since I've been here. Obviously, an opportunity, again, it's already built, but the new Copeland Middle School has provided us a number of opportunities already, and we'll continue to do that. And our continued opportunity to work and support everyone across the districts, including our families. This is an honor and a privilege to do that, and we'll continue to do that. And then to go off script really quickly, I'd like to publicly acknowledge Paul Riccardi and Jack Tolman, who are retiring, who I've done tons of work with the last 15 years. They're just unbelievable. That's it. That's all I got. That's a lot.
No, we very much appreciate it. We know the hard work and sort of technology overlaps into all areas of what school does. So we appreciate you, we appreciate your team, we appreciate the work they do.
Thank you.
Questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
I just wanted to quickly, just some of the things that we, obviously deep dive a lot more in the budget sub, but some of the things that have come up in the community recently, I definitely pressure tested with Mr. Kidd, including like the Chromebooks, like if they're, if supply chain's going up and, RAMs and CPUs are more expensive and Chromebooks can be, well, what's that look like? If our budgets are in trouble, what does it look, do we, one-to-one, is that in trouble? And it wasn't as easy. I just want to say that it wasn't as straightforward and simple of an answer as I kind of had it in my brain. That, where we purchase the new Chromebooks in the grade levels and then, they trickle down, it wouldn't necessarily save us. It would cause, there would need to be a significant reworking of how that all happens. And then another point, just because some of the things that are out there, obviously, we were talking about is responsible use and how you've got a computer in front of you and I think when we say that, a lot of the community hears that there's a, kindergartner with a computer in front of them all day long. And, as we know, all of these Chromebooks are connected to our internal systems that are tracked. And Mr. Kidd assures me the lower grades, you can clearly see how long they're on their Chromebooks, and it's not very long in a day. It's a, an exercise, like an ST Math type exercise, and then they're off doing their thing. So I just want to make sure that that's clear to some people that, because I certainly didn't understand that as well. I didn't have, I don't think I'm trying to think of when we got the Chromebooks, but like it was not, obviously, yeah, well, that was the problem. So I have the perspective of a third grader in the next room, always on the computer because of COVID. But, that's not the typical day for an elementary school kid. But clearly, as the kids get older, they're going to be on it a little more in middle, a little more in high school. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there that, we're not putting first graders in front of a screen all day long.
Yeah, I actually heard it again the other day, right, from a family member. And Mr. Kidd, you discussed like general time.
Sure,
Can
yeah.
you express that to the community?
Yeah.
We track how much our Chromebooks are used. It goes back into the back end of the Google Admin Console, and we pull that data out. And we track very closely what apps are being used as well, how long those apps are being used, how often they're accessed. And we provide reports to our admin team on that piece. But as far as the time for our kindergartners, our K to 2 students, the average is about 30 minutes a day that they're on their computer. And again, like ST Math is like a 15 minute piece, you know what I mean? And then there's like Lalilo and a couple of other ELA ones that are epic books. So that average is about, and it's funny, it's also 85 to 95% of the Chromebooks K to 2 are used every day, meaning that most of them, if you look at our absentee rates, right, we hover around 92, 93% absentee rate. which means most of our Chromebooks are used every single day. They're used for about 30 minutes on average every single day. Grades grades 3 and 4 are then kind of bump up to about 45 minutes to an hour. And you can see in their app usage, it's ST Math, but then it's also some Google Docs and present slideshows, and you can kind of see that progression up with that data. And then grades 5 to 8, it jumps up to about 110 to 120 minutes a day, so about 2 hours a day. But that includes, it's important to say, that includes, this is a 24-hour cycle, so that includes homework time as well. So it's not just 2 hours in the school. And we know that teachers assign, I know for my kids, they assign homework that the students use their Chromebooks at home for. So at the high school, that it actually dips down a little bit at the high school to 100 to 110 minutes a day for 9 to 12. So it's not an obscene amount of time that they're not sitting there all day on their computer, not socializing, and with with more and more teachers using Kagan as well. You're seeing we're trying to take that shift away from the idea of sitting and looking at a screen, but only, again, intentionally using the technology for what you're trying to use it for. But we talk about K-2. Now, when you look at that data where the K-2 classroom is like 30 minutes a day, then the question is, as you talk about, long-term budget cycles, okay, right now, because of COVID, there is a cart of full classroom computers in every single classroom. All right, is there wiggle room there where, okay, since it's 30 minutes a day, where it's one cart per 2 classrooms rather than every single classroom, right? And what the savings look like there? You're still hitting that 30 minutes a day as long as the schedules work that way. You do get into some issues there, right? Because that's how we first did technology in the elementary schools. We had what were called tech tubs, and there was just a limited amount in the classroom, and everybody sort of shared if they needed to do a whole class activity. The overwhelming request was, can we just get computers for everybody in the classrooms? But that has to do with scheduling and ease of use and things of that nature. But
I appreciate it. I think it's important just to note, right, because a lot of folks might see, all right, all the computers and our kids, as you said, Emery, the kids are in school and they're just opening their laptops and they're on them all day, which is not true. They are obviously, based on the data, supplemental to the expertise of our teachers, right? Our teachers are teaching, regularly engaging with our kids, and they are a tool that is used to assist their teachers. And I just want to kind of get past that in the community too, because it's not an issue, so.
And I just wanted, that's why I figured it was a good time to bring it up, because I was surprised too, because again, like my 3rd grader got one in COVID.
Yeah.
So that's my perception of it, 3rd grade, 4th grade, these hybrid models, and then he obviously became a tech kid from there and just kind of never got off. But, and I think it's important for people to know that that's not the norm.
Right.
Yeah.
This one, the slide that's showing there is the budget. It's the overall IT budget for FY27 by the DESE functions that we look at. And overall, it does show the IT budget going down by about $67,000. We'll be increasing their 7 staff on the operating budget. That would have an increase for their, whatever bargaining contract or individual contract, but primarily reducing because, as Mr. Kidd mentioned, the devices, we don't need to purchase as much next year. We'll need to bump it up in a future year. But overall, the IT budget is contributing to our 2.96% increase. It's going down by about $67,000.
Excellent. Joan, any comments, questions, concerns? No. Judith? No? Okay. If there is nothing else, thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm going to continue to just jump around. Ms. Mannion, do you want to do the Q2 financial report?
Or do we want to stay with cost?
Do we want to do that or stay with budget? It's up to you guys.
What, you tell me.
Let's
What
have
would you like to
Dr.
do?
Munoz.
So it might be more flow-like
Yeah.
to stay with the
Yes.
cost centers.
No, it looks like next week next time we'll organize that better. So I don't have to do this. Okay.
All right. I just had a thought. Obviously, we don't think we would ever do this, but if you guys ever want to consider spicing up
school committee meeting.
Nope.
When we're having visitors come up, they should have their hype song when they're coming up to the podium.
Nope.
Just saying. Just saying.
I actually would be all for that,
You know,
definitely,
gotta
because
get
I'd
them
want to
ready to
guess
present.
beforehand, and then I want it like it on the screen guessing beforehand what it was going to be.
Yeah.
It would take an extra
How
30
did I
to
not know
45
this kitten was
seconds,
moving around
and that
before
would
with
throw off
glasses?
the timing.
I was gonna say, does it stay within time?
It could. I mean, it's no different than a baseball player going into the plate to bat and they have their song playing.
It's true.
You guys
It's
are
exactly
talking
what
about
it is.
staying within time right now, having this conversation.
Jay is going to end up producing our school committee meeting soon. That's gonna be-
Well, I mean,
Not teasing.
our chair came in a little late today, so you know, it's just saying.
I
so.
know. We're behind. We've been catching up ever since.
All right, so I won't take hopefully very long here, but if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So this is just a quick synopsis of the academics, teaching and learning, cost center side of things. So we'll just go ahead and flip over through to this. So basically, we have the curriculum refreshes this year. We have ELA in our which we talked about earlier in our elementary grades, and then we have math happening in our 5 through 12. We also have some grants that are happening in social studies. So Ms. Orlinsky and Ms. West are looking at grants to help us get some investigating history curriculum from DESE. So that's something that they're looking at piloting in some grade levels in the middle school and upper elementary. We obviously support professional development and all the materials that go along with professional development and the curriculum refresh. And then we have our summer school professional development, our summer school in general, which we're continuing to talk about now with all the moving parts of the buildings happening this year, and then our assessment programs. Those are just the different metrics. They're not anything new that you guys haven't seen before, but those are all the different indicators that we look at to see how well we are doing within our district. It's not just the summative assessments that we see through the state, but actually looking through the different quarters and the halfway through the year, which we had our State of the Union just a couple weeks ago, to make sure that we are feeling the pulse of our district and helping support where we need support. This right here is a huge wide snapshot of our curriculum overview, which will always continually evolve and change as we're looking and updating our curriculums. So we know that when we're purchasing curriculums, for instance, you know, we may have to re-up a license when health and wellness is done because they got a 3-year license, not a 5-year license, right? So we will continually move things over and then talk to those departments and make sure that we have curriculum ready to support them with new curriculum if they need new curriculum or resources to supplement their curriculum. And at the same time, making sure we're not overlapping teachers and overwhelming them. So for instance, we're doing an ELA curriculum in elementary this year. We don't want to do math curriculum in a year and a half from now. So that'll give them 2 curriculums in almost 2.5 years. That'll be too much for them, so we kind of want to space that out a little bit. And then maybe bring another curriculum need from another department or another grade level into the fold. We are in our 2nd year of the Student Opportunity Act, and we just got an email literally this morning to say, hey, come to our call for the state, and we're going to give you an update on how they want us to give them an update for how our progress is doing this year. So we have that in the long-term agenda, so stay tuned for that. But that's just reminding you of the different groups that we talked about when we wrote our Student Opportunity Act.
Have they been a little bit more clear about their expectations and more?
We're going to
recent
find out our
years?
calls next week, so we have a call next week, so you know.
Oh, it's been as clear as mud up to now.
Yeah. As I told you about the curriculum refresh, we are currently underway. We are down to 2 curriculums in 512 math that they are going to begin the piloting process here soon. And we are down to 2 ELA curriculums in our elementary schools that they're going to begin piloting. All 4 sets of curriculums are not current curriculums that we currently have, are not the newest versions of what we currently have. So therefore, it will be a whole new curriculum coming in. We made sure after the curriculum teams vetted the curriculum materials, made sure they were high quality, make sure they were on Curate and state approved, that we actually sent an additional email out to all teachers to say, hey, is this what you really want to do? We want to make sure, because changing curriculum is a lot of work because it's a lot of professional development that needs to happen. And overwhelmingly, they said, yes, we want a new curriculum. We want to start fresh. So,
Just want to be clear on this slide, Dr. Munoz, is it math 5 to 12?
yeah, it's 5 to 12. Sorry, that's a
Okay.
typo. 5 to 12, guys. And then on the other side, we're continuing student engagement for cooperative learning. So we have a coaching program in where teachers are coached on average once a month, but sometimes it may be once every other month, depending on the schedules of the coaches and the teachers. I will tell you, Josh Bell is sitting right here. He's one of my coachees. And so I'll be sending out an email for him to sign up for coaching next week. So I will be in his classroom watching him do his magic and work his stuff. So, which I have seen him before, and he's fantastic in his classroom with his kids. We have we have our Character Strong curriculum that we're still obviously implementing in our schools, and now the Willett has rolled that out this year because they knew they were transitioning next year into an elementary school, so they have moved over to the Character Strong curriculum as well. And then, you know, teacher leader development is always what we're looking to do, and we're doing that with our PLC models a little bit. Our Kagan coaches are some teachers that are assuming teacher leadership roles as well. And then the PLCs are new this year. We've had a lot of positive feedback about them, and we want to see how we can further explore and helping teachers really dive in deep and help, you know, evolve their practice. So here's, if in case you're wondering what cooperative learning is, these are just some examples, right? So you can see that it is all about student engagement, student discourse with each other, not necessarily student to teacher, but more student to student. And so you can see here we have a couple different strategies here. So, you know, on the left side, that looks like it's a fan and pick. So basically one kid picks a card, reads the question, answers the question, and then they have to circulate and they have to agree or disagree and all that other stuff and mix and mingle. And then they have they can show their work to each other. In the middle, they're doing a showdown. That is a center. That is a literacy center where it's a math center where they're actually saying, you know, there's a problem in the middle that they turn over, they pick a card, and the kids all have to do the problem on their own, and they say showdown, they all have to show each other the problem and then see who got right and wrong and then try to correct themselves and collaborate that way. And when Mr. Kidd was talking about the Chromebooks, the high school, that is a world language class, and they were doing presentations on countries they researched, and they had to do it in the native language of Spanish. And so there was a round table, which is a writing activity, where students had to pass a paper around while the student was presenting and answer questions on the paper that pertain to the presentation. So kids are engaged in a different way with that. And so those are the activities. You can go to the next page. We'll see more activities there. These are all quiz trades here. You can see on the left side, I think they were doing literate poetry and figurative language over there. In the middle, they were doing foundations, quiz trades, the kindergartners were. And on the upper right-hand side, they were doing quiz trade with some ELA text content that they were preparing for. And then here on the left side, that is a rally coach. So students are in pairs, and they're basically coaching each other on how to do a math problem. So I do one problem, you're going to coach me and tell me if I'm right. Then obviously we'll flip the paper over, you do a different problem and coach if I'm right. And in the middle, they're doing, looks like probably another fan. Oh no, that's actually a round table. They're actually writing stories in Spanish there. It's a Spanish class in the high school. And then the middle school class on the right is doing a fan and pick with some science content. For the grants, you know, my department or my side of the realm oversees Title II, which is obviously the teacher mentors. That's a big chunk of the Title II money. It's probably a third of that is going to mentors because they get $1,000 per mentorship. And then we used a lot of that for our PLC and cooperative learning structures this year, which obviously Mr. Mannion have told you that we are a year ahead, so we actually have not touched this year's money for next year, so we are pretty good with that side of things. And then on Title IV, we support Mr. Kidd in a lot of things that he does. Our family liaisons come out of that pocket as a backup if we're not writing any grants, any additional grants that have come out for the state that are yearly grants. And then we are really looking to bolster our SEL stuff, which is like safety care training and making sure we're training the trainer. So we're not having to bring people in-house all the time, but we're actually going to build our own training department within so we can continue to train our employees from our own employees.
This is the slide on the budget, and overall for instruction PD, it's an increase of 75,000. That's due to the PD for the professional development of the teachers learning the new curriculum. So we still have the $250,000 that's level funded for the curriculum itself, but we do need to add funds for the teachers to implement and learn the new curriculum. So it is an increase in the budget for that.
Yeah, what we learned is when we adopted the last elementary curriculum, it was during the COVID era. And so it's kind of online, and the professional development wasn't as strong as it should have been. I think that's why a lot of teachers feel a certain way about the curriculum, and so we want to make sure we get in front of that this year and making sure we're writing. Because that's a lot of the fears of teachers, like, if we're going to give us new curriculum, we want to make sure we learn how to use this curriculum. So.
I think that's an important place to spend the money, if I'm being honest.
All right.
And that's it. I'll take any questions you have.
Questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
No, I love when I see pictures of kids working collaboratively together.
Me too. You and me both.
So far with that, has it been pretty well received with the students? Like, I know that the teachers liked it.
Yeah, it was interesting enough. Actually, I was in a class that I think Joan's daughter was in, actually, and they said, you know, Dr. Munoz is going to be here coaching me, so, you know, he might report to, you know. And so she was fantastic on this collaborative activity. They were doing some type of, like, they had to, like, they all had to, like, pass this paper around and do some writing and drawing, and it was an excellent activity. But I think that I'm at the Coakley a lot for these coaching sessions because they have such a big number of staff and they don't have a lot of coaches there. So I go over there and assist from time to time. And it's always interesting to see the middle school kids because the cooperative learning component has a praising aspect of that. Like after you do this, like thank your partner. And middle scores are middle scores. But some teachers have been really good at saying, nope, I want you to thank them, and they do some funny jokes or they say, bet and all that other stuff. So they have this thing, but they're praising each other, they're encouraging each other. And at first it was slow, right? Because it just wasn't the norm, but now it's starting to be the norm. So now we're walking into the classrooms and it's almost second nature for teachers and students. So I see a teacher saying, I'm going to do a new strategy. Has anyone done, this strategy before? And half the class will raise their hand because they did it in a different class already. So that's what we want. Teachers to come in and say, I want to do the strategy to make sure every kid's engaged, every kid's accountable, every kid is equally participating in a strategy that other teachers have used. So they could say, I'm just doing it with social studies and I'm doing it with math. And so it's been a great thing to see.
I will say too, in all my visits, when I see the work, I always ask the kids individually, how do you like this work? What are you working on? Do you like this partner stuff? And they all love it. They're all really engaged, and I see it everywhere. Mr. Bell's class yesterday too. They weren't perfect, right? But they were. I don't know. Well, you can really tell when it's rooted, in the classroom, and it was in Mr. Bell's classroom, as it is most of the places that I visit too. So.
Yeah, I'm impressed more and more every time I go into a classroom when I see kindergartners do things like, like they're able to run a math center by themselves, no adult needed, doing math equations and math problems and actually doing work that teachers want them to do that maybe a kid individually would not want to do in a shutdown. But now he or she has 3 other people that can help them with that work. Mm-hmm. So that is not the teacher.
Leasing responsibility to the kid. It's like what we do.
I do love too that we just had the conversation about the technology piece, and this is the anti. I mean, like you do see computers in some of these, pictures, but it's literally the anti-technology piece where you're getting everybody together and to work together. And so I think that's kind of just to speak to that we are not just sticking kids in front of computers all day.
And this is a good place to share too. You'll see the school calendar and the consent agenda later. There are always questions about, some teachers had some requests to do Monday and Tuesday start for them and only have 2 days of PD at the beginning of the year. I just want to share that we definitely consider that, but given the fact that we have to implement the new curriculums, we need that 3rd day at the beginning of the year. So I just want to say we were really thoughtful in that. We want to make sure that they have what they need at the beginning of the year to implement and get a good start with both the math and the ELA next year. So.
Excellent. Other comments, questions, concerns from the committee? Watching Joan yawn and hearing none, we'll move on to our second to last thing. So, Mr. Mannion, I will turn it over to you for the Q2 financial report.
Thank you. Happy to report to you on the status of the operating budget for FY26 through second quarter. I have to give a big shout out to Gina Mung. She's our assistant business manager. She takes the lion's share of doing these projections and watching the budget as it goes through the year. So she's a very crucial member of our team. Here you see an overview of our budget at this point in time. The budget is, again, $65.3 million. Expended as of the end of December through second quarter is $26.2 million, or 40% expended. Encumbered, we still have $37.2 million, 57%. Overall spent and encumbered is $63.4 million, or 97%. Again, we do encumber our salaries, so we're always pretty fully encumbered. You'll just see encumbrances switch to expenses as the years go on. We forecast the rest of the year $7.5 million. That's a lot of the salaries that we don't encumber, things that aren't encumbered, that haven't been purchased yet, maybe supplies and things that we know people will encumber later in the year. And then we account for our offsets. The large portion of that is the circuit breaker at, $4 to $5 million. We have some other things that we also use as offsets. Overall, our projection right now is a positive balance of $404,000 roughly. Happy to say we have now taken out any reliance on the SPED reserve. So $550,000 credit came out. If we hadn't taken that credit away, we would be at a balance of about $950,000. So we would have been at $950. We're actually at $400. We're no longer relying on any use of that SPED reserve. Next one. This is the summary by our DESE functions. This was the first quarter, so as of the first quarter, we were at $850,000 surplus projected. We had a slight deficit in the teaching, the 2000s, that's the huge area, all things instruction. We had a surplus projected in 3,000, which is like our transportation of 400,000. We added a lot in that area, and we added so much that we're just not able to hire all the staff that we wanted to. We are doing well with that, but we're still showing a surplus. And at that point in time, we were showing a surplus of 600,000 on the out-of-district tuition line, which has been a good story this year. When we flip to second quarter, we now see the balance of 404,000 roughly. We've switched to a little bit of a surplus in the 2,000 area. Again, that's the largest area. As the year goes on, we start to show the effect of little vacancies and employees that haven't been hired as people come and go. I expect that that'll continue to probably get positive as the year goes on. 3,000, still $400,000 surplus in transportation, and in tuition, it shifted because we took out that sped reserve. So instead of a surplus of 600,000, we're now negative 100,000, roughly 110,000, but that's mostly due to the credit. We're still showing an overall balance of 404.5 thousand. Next one shows the differences on each one of those functions. So when we look in the difference in the projection, we have gotten better in the instructional area by about 300,000, and we've gotten, the area of tuition has gotten worse, but a lot of that was due to us taking that credit out. So when we look at our overall spending in our budget by different ways of looking at it, payroll versus non-payroll. Payroll's about 82% of our budget, and the non-payroll items about 18%. That's consistent year to year and also consistent with other school districts for the most part. A lot of education is salaries, teachers. That's the main input. For payroll, when we look at it, it's about 66% general education, 30% special education, and 4% English learners. When we look at the non-payroll items, it kind of flip-flops. It's about 38% general education, 62% SPED, and 1% English learners. That's because a lot of the non-payroll expenses like transportation, tuition are on the special education side. And this shows the approved budget, the final projected, and the final balance by ELL, regular SPED for the expenses and the payroll. And you can see the balance that builds up to the 404,000 sort of in these categories. Okay. Funding sources, we'll go through some other fundings that we have. These are the warrant articles from the town. At this point in time, the capacity study is done. Pupil transportation, we gave back $209,000 that we said we weren't going to use on that line. We mentioned that at Capital. We mentioned it last year. The town finally took those funds back. We do have one warrant article from the spring, $300,000. That's coming from Medicaid funding. We're paying for 3 staff. We have, at this point, expended $100,000 of that. That's all built into the overall projection in the operating budget. Student services study is completed, so those funds, just $7,780 left. We'll go back to free cash at the end of the year. And then we do have a school IT emergency connectivity. Mr. Kidd continues to watch these funds. He uses these funds for equipment and network things as he can, so he'll continue to spend those down. We still have an available budget there of $121,000. Looking at circuit breaker, we haven't heard any changes in circuit breaker at this point in time. We're expecting $5.3 million in circuit breaker, fully funded this year. That's a really good amount. 75% on transportation and 75% on tuition. They're expecting to go to the full funding. When we look at the spending, you can see the credits that we have in the operating budget as well as some tuitions that are directly charged to circuit breaker. At the end of the year, we're expecting to carry forward about $3 million in circuit breaker, which is consistent to the last 2 years. As you can see, we kind of have a little reserve there, which is what a lot of districts like to do, not fully spend your circuit breaker, so you're kind of going ahead a year, and that's what we project to do again. When we look at out-of-district tuitions at this point in time, we budgeted 11.5 million in placements. We had the circuit breaker credits of a 5 million, and we had a budget of 550,000 in the stabilization credits. Overall, the budget came down to 6 million when you add the credits. Right now, we're projecting 11.2 million in the placements, so less than what we had budgeted in the placements. We have the same circuit breaker, but we removed the stabilization. And we do now, we did budget in 145, roughly 146,000 in the IDEA grant. We'll probably continue putting some tuitions on the IDEA grant. And overall, it does show an overage on the tuition, but at the end of the day, we have a surplus overall. A lot of the change here, like we said, is because we're no longer using that SPED reserve credit anymore. This shows all of our revolving funds. Everything is pretty consistent with prior years as far as the revenues and expenses. You can see the building rental, the transportation fees, preschool fees, athletic fees, drama, music fees, Chromebook insurance. And then down at the bottom, you see our SPED reserve. We added 580,959 at the fall town meeting, and now we're kind of at our full reserve amount of 2% of net school spending at 1,580,959, and no dependence in the operating budget, and we're not budgeting that for next year. We're using it as a true reserve, as we've mentioned a couple of times now. Next two pages are about grants. Everything is pretty consistent with prior years, and we've talked about grants a lot. You can see all the various grants. This does show how in any given grant, like IDEA, you see we're spending 24, 25, and a 26 grant, so there's that 27-month cycle. And that takes us to the end of the report. It's all good news. And the last thing I would say is, first quarter projections are a little bit conservative because it's not much of the school year has gone in September. But by second quarter, we should be able to read the tea leaves. Hopefully, things will kind of settle where this one is. So hopefully they'll be here, maybe get a little bit better. But we don't see any major surprises in the distance this school year. Knock on wood.
Everybody.
You never know, but.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
Okay. Excellent.
Perfect, if there are no questions, comments, concerns.
And
Perfect.
all mine done on the subcommittee, so.
Okay, with that, we will move out of budget into my favorite portion of meeting, the consent agenda. So I just want to I want to do just a high-level overview, I guess, really quickly. Obviously, we have some donations to accept and approve. There are a bunch of sets of minutes, as well as the monthly budget transfers that that are under the certain amount, right?
Some that I've approved, and then
Yep.
some that require your
There's
approval.
one on there.
Some,
budget,
yep,
yeah.
and then some that require our approval. I don't want to mess this up. We also have the approval of the new policies. That means these are policies that we have looked at before. They've been on their 2-week open posting period. And then, that just requires a vote, a second vote of confirmation. So that's why those are listed there. The Superintendent 360 assessment questions, which you guys will be getting those tomorrow. We'll talk offline about that, as well as the school calendar. We had talked about that. I do just want to shout out, I know there were some emails that we had received. I think the school committee was on all of them. So I just want to make people aware, those at home that are watching and that did send, we did hear you. I was able to respond to most, but they were there. So I will stop talking and I will turn it over to the committee.
Joe, force
Joan.
habit.
Did we receive any comment on any of the policies?
We did not.
Thank you.
Excellent question.
I was going to ask it myself, but sorry, hand up.
Getting giggly, it's that time of night.
I'm looking for hands just before I make my motion.
Seeing none. Anne Marie.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda, including donations by the Women's Community Committee, $500 gift card to Prescott, the Prescott PTO Enrichment After School Program stipend of $640, Bay State Textiles December rebate of $645.30, and a high school scholarship by Pasquale De Luca, the Pasquale De Luca Scholarship, I hope I said that right, for $1,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Joan seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and/or seeing none, I will entertain a vote. Because we are hybrid, I will poll individually. I will start online. Judith,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Anne Marie.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well, so the consent agenda this evening passes 4-0. As always, thank you to the committee. This was one of our meeting efficiencies, and I really like the consent agenda, so I appreciate that you play along. With that, school committee addenda, I will start online. Judith, do you have anything?
I do not know.
Okay. Joan?
The only thing I have to say is I hope that in Norwood, we continue to put our town first and continue to role model how to have positive and constructive dialogue for our kids. That's all.
Thank you. Anne Marie?
Yes. Mine's a little more weighty. I wanted to make sure to let the community know that I will not be seeking reelection this year. I weighed this often, which is why unfortunately coming at the end of January, and there's been some speculation and maybe some not so gentle nudging from people to go pull papers. It has been a fantastic 6 years on this committee, starting with my very late election in COVID that didn't happen till June. So that caused some very interesting, and learning this role completely remotely, to finally being able to actually meet my colleagues face to face, like 2 years. Swear to God, it was like 2 years in.
It was.
One committee member I actually didn't meet before he left, and then yeah, that was a very, very interesting time. I have really enjoyed every second. Well, maybe not every second, but it's been a really fun ride. I've really I'm really proud to see how we've come, like where the district has come from. We've always been a great town and a great community, and I knew that I wanted to get into working with the schools and improving what I knew could be so much better for as good as it was. And so I really have enjoyed seeing it, transition and all of the improvements that have been made, and my 3 years as chair coming to convocation and being able to speak to our staff, I really filled me with a lot of just pride and just joy to see the staff at those events. And I thank everybody who has supported me, and even those who haven't, because to be honest, that's how we make ourselves better. With just, reaching out and letting someone know you don't agree with what they just said. And that's okay. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not all supposed to be little minions that, agree with each other, and that's fine. But I did want to make sure to announce it officially that I will not be seeking re-election, and I really do wish whoever sits in this chair after me the best of luck. It is really fulfilling, and it is really rewarding, and I really hope that I wish the committee well as they continue their work. I'll be here obviously for the next couple of months doing budget till my eyes fall out, but yeah, that is it. But just thank you to everybody.
Thank you. Obviously, we still have a couple months left with
Yes.
you, but
I'm not gone.
Yes, tough news to share, but we appreciate that, and I thank you for that. So, to mine, I will be quick. Anne Marie, thank you to you. Anne Marie will be on through the end of March. We have this funny thing here where we go till the election. We don't do the count like the school calendar year, so she will be here till the end of March. I would just like to shout out a couple of different people. Dr. Ballier, for your appointment to assistant superintendent. Congratulations. And although you still have a couple months left with us, we wish you luck in the next steps in your career. I know it was mentioned before, but Paul Riccardi, obviously retiring, I think it's finally this Friday, right? It's the end of January. First it was December 1st, then it was December 31st, and now it's January. But I cannot say enough about him and his commitment to this town, the people, the facilities department, and the schools. So thank you very much for that. As well as Jack Tolman. Although Jack Tolman works with both NCM, he also has worked with the schools, and your impact is felt by so many, and your just willingness again to work with the kids in this town, the people in this town, the schools. Those are hard positions to step up and replace, and I obviously want to wish them well and thank them a great deal for all the work that they've done. I also was in this time where, it was the first time in a long time that we've had snow, and we've been in this situation. I was on traffic duty at the school I work at, being cussed out by parents and community members alike in that community. But I just want to remind people that when we're in these places, a couple of things. Obviously, first and foremost, that roads, sidewalks, the facilities and DPW, these are people that have to work incredibly long and late hours when we have storms like this to make sure that, the inconvenience to us is minimal, both homeowners and people in schools. So I would just ask that people take a second and think of that before some of the things that have been said. Just some of the things, I know it's easy to complain or say this wasn't done, but the DPW and facilities did a great job with a really, really big storm and a lot of snow that we haven't had one of those in a long time. So I want to thank them. And just remind people to give people grace. Along with that, when it comes to decisions around school cancellations or delays, again, the idea of these are safety. These decisions are not taken lightly. These decisions are made collaboratively. And as they've gone on, today there's a lot of predictive technology that's used. There's communication with different departments and expertise to make the decision that people see is the best fit. So I think it's always a nice time when we have these things just to ask the community to reflect and think about, because we are not always in these situations. So to everyone, all of the people, I know I will forget someone, that were involved in those decisions and making sure that people were safe Monday and Tuesday and that we operate. I appreciate your work. So with that, I will stop talking. Our next meeting, I'll wait for that. We next move into adjournment. Pleasure of the committee.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Anne Marie motions to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. Joan seconds. Because we are hybrid, I will poll. Judith?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Anne Marie?
Yes.
I am a yes as well. Our next business meeting will be Wednesday, February 11th. We will see you then. Be safe, stay warm, and have a wonderful evening.